We've got San Diego State's quarterback. What a year it has been for Jalen Mayden. What a remarkable year in general, from safety back to quarterback, and now leading this Aztec offense. He was named the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week earlier today, threw for 268 yards and 3 touchdowns, ran for 61 yards in a win over San Jose State on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. Jalen, it's great to have you back with us here on the all-new San Diego Sports 760, and congratulations on winning that award earlier today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
So tell us about that, because it's not an individual sport, and we know how San Diego State is. But what does it mean to you, and maybe to your teammates as well, for you to be recognized for your play this past week?
Just like you said, it's not an individual sport. Everybody has to put in the work and effort, and it's like me throwing the ball. The O-line has to make all the protection checks and make sure I'm protected and actually execute it. And receivers, like you see, they go all out and beyond to make sure that they're coming down as fast as I'm throwing. So, this is an award for me, but at the end of the day, I credit all my teammates for it.
Jalen Mayden with us right now, San Diego State's outstanding quarterback. Again, the Aztecs under Jalen, 4-1 in his 5 starts. Jalen, where do you think you've grown the most over these last 5 weeks, working with the offense, working with Ryan Lindley and Jeff Horton? Where have you seen your own growth?
I would say a little bit more in leadership as I'm, getting more comfortable in my role. Getting guys with more urgency to the line. I feel like a couple of games that we had to take a timeout because of the lackluster of it was getting up to the line, getting the play call, just continuing to get my urgency and post-snap, making sure that I'm getting my eyes on my keys. So the pass game becomes more smoother for me.
You said something really interesting Saturday night with us on the wrap-up show, where when you threw the early interception this past weekend against San Jose State, you went to the bench and immediately your teammates are picking you up, right? Offensive players, defensive players who you're with. Like, what is that like as a player when you have your teammates rallying around you, and how much of a pick-me-up is that for you?
To me, I think it's kind of funny. I mean, not in the moment, but when I think back on it, just how everybody knows, like, how hard I am on myself and how much I put in, and that I'm willing to go out there and make everything right and try to be perfect. But, we know everybody's not perfect. But to me, it's funny just how well they know me and how quick they come over to me and tell me don't worry about it, they got my back, and just keep moving on.
Jalen Mayden, San Diego State's quarterback, joining us right now on John and Jim. I don't know if you realize this. Did anyone mention this to you? There was an Aztec quarterback that was a co-winner of the Offensive Player of the Week back in 2012. But the last outright winner of the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week that was a San Diego State quarterback was Ryan Lindley in 2010. What do you make of that?
Well, I hear all the stories about Coach Lindley, and I've yet to watch any of the hard tape on him or just any game film. But I mean, I believe it. But he walks around here. He has the confidence and smile, cheek to cheek, chest to chest, all puffed out. So I mean, I believe he was a winner. He was a guy.
What are his best attributes as a coach for you?
To me, it's patience. Because when we first got over here, I know I played quarterback previously, but I was moving back from safety. And it helps me seeing stuff when I was at safety, but obviously flipping the whole side of the ball, you see things a little bit different. So to me, his biggest attribute, and especially it helps me, is his patience that he's had with me.
Jalen Mayden with us right now on John and Jim. Again, San Diego State is now bowl eligible at 6-4. They'll get New Mexico Friday at 6:45 Pacific. We'll have pregame coverage right here on the all-new San Diego Sports 760 at 5 p.m. What does that mean to you to be bowl eligible this year?
It means a lot. I know I want to say this is our 13th year being bowl eligible, but it kind of just feels a little bit better when I feel like I've played a bigger part in the team actually getting there. So it means a lot for me.
What was the scene like? San Diego State posted on Twitter and I think on social media, Brady Hoke recording his 100th career win as a head coach, you guys finding out that you're bowl eligible for a 13th consecutive year. How special of a scene was it for you and your teammates in the locker room Saturday after the win?
I'm actually sick that I missed it. So my granny came out here for the first time ever to see me play. And Collegiate football, and I was out there still talking to them, and the head coaches were trying to bring me in, but I actually didn't miss it, so I saw it on Twitter just as much as everybody else. But I know it meant a lot to him, and it means a lot to this team. And at the end of the day, we were here to win, so that win felt good, and it was good to see that he got a ton of wins.
Okay, well, let's go back, because if there's ever a reason to miss a post-game celebration, it's to celebrate with your family and your grandmother. So your grandma was in town to watch you in college for the first time ever? What was that experience like for you and your family?
It was good. When I picked them up Thursday, they were all just, stoked to see me, and they had all these pictures and customized jerseys and stuff like that, and they were all just congratulating me on what happened thus far, and just telling me, don't worry about it, don't be nervous, don't get too excited, just be you and play, and we'll talk about the game afterwards.
Was it as easy as that? Like, if I'm playing in front of my family, I just remember as like a kid. Like, when your parents are there, it's a little different as opposed to when they're not. I'm sure you draw motivation from it, but were you a little extra nervous knowing that you had family at Snapdragon or not?
I wasn't at all.
Okay.
Growing up, my family used to come to all the games, and they would be the loudest ones in the stands. And as a kid, it's actually kind of embarrassing that, you got your family screaming and hooting and hollering. So I learned to just try to tone it out and act like they weren't here. So I just pretended they weren't here, played my game, and afterwards I was excited to see them actually get to see me do it in person and not from over the TV copy.
Jalen Mayden, San Diego State's quarterback, with us right now on John and Jim. Now, Jalen, the last time we had you on, you spoke about your desire to return next season. Then we talked to Brady Hoke, and he said that you two have spoken, and now it sounds like that's official. So now that you know you're going to be back in 2023, like what are your hopes here, not just to finish this year, but with the full off season and leading up to another full year of quarterback?
My hopes, and I hope it becomes a reality, is just to grow as a quarterback in all phases of the game, tighten up my footwork, and just having that whole offseason prepared to really dive down and know the ins and outs of all the rhyme and reasons of why we're doing stuff in the playbook. Having that extra year with the offense, meshing, getting the camaraderie. I think it's going to be a good deal, and that's what I'm really excited for. I'm hoping that we all go good.
I apologize for cutting you off there. Jalen Mayden joining us right now on John and Jim. So, Jalen, like, life obviously isn't a straight path, and it's funny how we get to places, right? Like, you literally had offers from everyone out of high school. Like, you must have dozens of offers. You could have gone to you went to Mississippi State. You could have gone to any number of schools in the SEC or the Big Ten or wherever. So it's not a straight path, but you landed San Diego State. Do you kind of feel fortunate as you look back on how you ended up out here having this opportunity, later in your career after having a chance to develop over the last couple of years?
Yes, I would. If I go back, I wouldn't have done anything different. My family's always been behind me. They never forced me to make any decision. They wanted me to evaluate where I was going, who I was talking to, what was going to be there when I got there. So I made every decision on my own, and they stood behind me. So I'm proud, and I'm glad I made my decision.
It's amazing how life works. All right, so New Mexico this weekend, Jalen. It's a short week. It's on the road. It's Friday night. You're taking out a defense that's similar to San Diego State's, right? Danny Gonzalez and Rocky Long, that 3-3-5. Does facing a similar defense make it easier or harder for you as you prepare for Friday night?
I would say it makes it easier, but their record definitely doesn't show the amount of effort and talent that's on that defense. A couple of guys are a little undersized, but if you set on the film and you just watch it, they got 11 hats to the ball every play. Nobody seems to just be lacking, and I think that's what their biggest strength is, their effort. So I feel like that's the same with our defense too, and what I see every day in practice. So as far as what you're asking, it does make it easier, but I don't think this is going to be an easy game by any means.
No, and these are important games because you guys have 6 wins, which gets you bowl eligible, but you really could use another win to kind of guarantee a spot. And, of course, you'd love to win out. A game against New Mexico, then Air Force, and potentially a bowl game as well. Jalen, congratulations again on what has been a fine year to this point for San Diego State. Much better than that, in fact. Again, Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, 3 touchdown passes this past weekend in a victory against San Jose State. Thank you so much for taking the time for us, and best of luck Friday night.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.